You right there, guys, this is Del for U.TV, and today we are looking at the King Arms Spring Action Dragunov Sniper Rifle. I've seen a lot of stuff with the King Arms AEG version. This is the hand-cocking spring version. As you can see here, no batteries in this, just pure power of your arm. Now, I have already looked at a A&K Spring Dragunov and an ARES Spring Dragunov, which you can find the review of this channel that we did about last year. So I'm going to be making a lot of comparisons towards those two. Now, first of all, we're going to take a quick look at the externals of the gun, working our way up. Now, we're going to start at the back of the gun. This is a very solid stock. It's made of kind of polymer. It's solid the entire way through. It's not hollow, so it feels very, very sturdy indeed. It's got a very slight inward curve to it, so it's a bit more comfortable for a right-handed shoot as opposed to a left, but it's still usable nonetheless. One thing I have noticed, the actual trigger grip itself is not the most comfortable I've ever had. The ARES one certainly had a smoother one. It had a more rounded edge. This is pretty squared off towards the end. It's quite smooth, but it's just a little bit uncomfortable, just a little niggle there. Working our way up the gun, the front handguard, plastic as well. What you may notice is, though, is there's a little seam running all the way up the bottom and all the way up at the top of it, and it actually looks like the two pieces haven't quite met each other properly. This is how it's actually supposed to be designed, though. We've taken it off, made sure the sections match correctly, but even though they are properly fitted together, it does actually look like there's a bit of a panel gap between the two. I don't quite know what they were thinking with that. It just takes away from the realism a little touch, but just cosmetic. Nobody particularly cares about that, to be honest. Now, aside from the pistol grip, which I've already mentioned, there was only one other thing about this rifle I didn't like, and that was the fire selector. Obviously, it's your standard AK Dragunov style fire selector. You push it up, it's on safe. You push it down, it's ready to fire. When I first got this gun, it was extremely loose. Like, occasionally I'd line up a shot on somebody, pull the trigger, and realise it's put itself back on safe. So by the time I put it on fire, the target's wandered off, and that was that shot wasted. So it's a very easily fixed problem, but be very careful when you do this, and if you break your Dragunov doing it, you're an idiot. But you just take the fire selector off and put a very, very slight bend inward. It'll put a bit more pressure on these little nibs that it goes into here, and that will fix the problem. But as I say, be very careful with this. You can break it too much, because it is only hot metal, so just be very careful with that. And if you break your own gun, frankly, you're stupid. Carrying on with the externals of the gun here, we're going to have a quick look at the scope I've mounted on it. This does not come with the gun when you originally buy it. You have to buy it separate, but I highly recommend you do. It completely finishes off the Dragunov look, which is really what you're going for when you're buying this kind of gun. You can buy an adapter on the side that gives it a top rail, like you normally find on AEGs and that sort of thing, so you can mount more modern scopes on it. Why you'd want to, I'm not entirely sure. It'd ruin the look of it. Yes, you might get a more powerful scope, but your Dragunov will look a little bit ridiculous, frankly. You're wanting the pure Russian style mount on it. You can also remove this front flash hider, and you can buy adapters that allow you to put a silencer on it. But what that would then do is make an already ridiculously long gun about the length of a country. So I have problems running around the forest with this at the moment because it keeps scooping up bits of wood, dirt, small children in the front flash hider up here. So it's a hilariously long gun already. You don't need to make it any longer than it already is. So let's talk now about some of the performance aspects of this gun, how it actually performs in the field during a skirmish. Now, the A&K bolt action Dragunov is infamous for having a very, very hard bolt to cock. I'm happy to report this one is very light, it's very smooth, it's a hell of a lot easier than the A&K one to do. If perhaps you couldn't do the A&K, there is a very high chance you'll be able to do this one. It requires about half the effort the A&K originally did. It's pretty much on par with the ARES one I've previously reviewed. It's a lot smoother than the ARES one was to start with, but gradually a bit of wear and tear that'll cut it all out. In terms of the kind of shot groupings you get, unfortunately we can't actually show you that today, but having fired all three rifles, I can quite safely say, in terms of left to right accuracy from your groupings, this is the best rifle of the three, without a doubt. It fires pretty much in a straight line consistently. I had to unlearn the strategy I had with me other two Dragunovs, where I'd have to kind of predict where the BB was going and just rely instead on the actual scope. It was that accurate. So the accuracy of this rifle comes highly recommended. So the hop unit on this Dragunov, I know the A&K one had a Allen key style hop where you took off this top receiver here and you had a tiny little Allen key hole which nobody had the correct size for it whatsoever. It was a complete nightmare to adjust. The ARES one has a wheel system which is very similar to this one actually, but the benefit of this wheel system over the ARES one is that a lot of wheel movement relates to very, very little depressing of the hop-up rubber itself, so it's a lot easier to adjust if you're finding that sweet spot with the hop-up rubber. It just takes very, very fine adjustments on it so you can find the perfect amount of hop-up on your gun. One thing I have noticed with the hop-up itself, though, it takes about 10-15 shots in the morning to get warm. So before you make any hop-up adjustments on the game day, take a couple of shots on it, empty about half a mag downrange. Don't particularly aim at anything, just make sure your hop rubber's warm before you start making these adjustments, otherwise you're going to be chasing the temperature for quite some time, which will lead to frustration on the game day. Now, one major benefit this has over the ARES SVDS that I reviewed previously last year is the ARES suffered from jamming issues quite a lot. Pretty much every game I could guarantee it would jam at least once, where a BB would get crushed in the mechanism and then you'd have to take the mag out, rack a couple of shots, and then clean out the inside before you could fire again. This has only ever jammed on me once over the 3 months I've been owning it, and God knows how many rounds I've fired through the barrel. It is highly reliable. It's just never failed on me. There was only one time when I accidentally double cocked it, and that was my own fault really, so it wasn't the gun at all. This is an exceptionally reliable platform. So in terms of the mags this gun fires, the other two Dragunovs I had both had high caps. I'm not entirely sure if you can get a high cap for this Dragunov or not, but you do get supplied with a 50 round mid-cap style mag. It also comes with a speed loader in the box, so what I like to do is fill this up all the way and take the fully loaded speed loader out onto the field with you if you run dry on this, pop it out, speed load a couple more rounds into it, slam it back into your Dragunov, and away you go. And on the subject of putting the mag back into the Dragunov, this is the smoothest fit of a mag I've ever seen on any gun ever. Whoever designed this, you're a genius and have my eternal praise. It requires no effort whatsoever, in it goes every single time. Now, in terms of how this gun feels, as I've already said, it's the length of a country mile. It is essentially a tank of a gun. You have to be very spatially aware if you're going to go into any buildings or around particularly dense woodland with this thing. But in comparison to the ARES SVDS, which was the shortened version, it's actually a hell of a lot lighter than that. It's made out of aluminium construction, and it's a lot more manoeuvrable, even though the ARES was actually shorter. I do believe it's a tiny bit heavier than the A&K, but frankly, it's not that noticeable. It's still a very usable platform, as long as you bear in mind that actually it's exceptionally long and try not to get it caught on any tree branches. Now, one question on a lot of snipers' minds is, where can I take this platform from here? I've got it out of the box, it shoots fine. This thing will shoot 500 FPS out the box. I was very surprised when I first got it. The website I got it on listed it as 400, but when you first fired the shot, it was powerful with a capital P. It was actually quite a shock. Upgrades for this rifle do exist in the world, but I'd hold off on buying them actually, because there's not much need to go and get them just yet. This thing shoots just fine as it is. If any of the internals break, which none of these have just yet, and it doesn't look like they will anytime soon, then I'd recommend getting an upgraded part, but for now you can just hold off. This thing will shoot just fine. One of the kind of upgrades you get is a purely cosmetic one, but you've got a Dragunov, you just need to go for it. Wood kit. These things, you can buy the King Arms Dragunov with a wood kit already installed, but this is one we've just got from one of our friends, and frankly it just completes the Dragunov look. It doesn't suit a black polymer style. Yes, it looks a bit more modern, but nobody wants a modern Dragunov. You want the wood original for the full Russian look. Now, to summarise this Dragunov overall, I was exceptionally surprised at how cheap Action Hobbies was selling this off for the performance it delivers. They were selling off for 160 quid compared to the ARES, which is 150, and the A&K at 120, 130. So, frankly, if you're looking for a spring-powered Dragunov, definitely get this one. It's a bit extra, yeah, but it's worth its weight in gold in comparison to the other two. Compared to the gas Dragunovs, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to fire any of those yet, so I don't know how it would compare to those. And the AEG ones, I've never, ever been a fan of an AEG sniper, just because the gas and spring sniper are very quiet compared to the very distinctive sound of an AEG, which can give your position away. Always go for a spring and a gas, in my opinion. Compared to other sniper brands, honestly, I think this thing could be very competitive with other snipers out the box and with a little bit of upgrades on them as well. It's an exceptionally good rifle. So, if you're looking for a cheap sniper rifle or the best spring action Dragunov you can find on the market out of the box, this comes highly recommended from me. Now, this has been Dale for UDAD TV. Like and subscribe. We're going to be reviewing guns as and when we get them. We can't promise when we will, but we'll give them a good couple of months before we review them. I originally got this in the Christmas period, and I had 3 months before I was happy to review it, so I can give you guys the feedback you deserve. We're not supported by anybody. We're not sponsored by anybody. We just want to tell you whether these guns are good or not. So, hit that subscribe button, and we'll get in touch with you next time we have another gun on U.TV. Brilliant out of the box. It's leave it. I'll give you my congratulations. It is the best mag fit I've ever had. It requires no effort whatsoever to go in. It goes in smoothly. What? Wrong way.